In the last episode of the Southampton Career Mode, we added squad depth at the right back and center mid positions. Ward-Prowse suffered a long-term injury that put him out for the end of Season 4. We added our first trophy of the Career Mode, winning the FA Cup final over Manchester City. Despite using a rotated squad, we reached the final of the Champions League only to lose to Bayern München. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Southampton Career Mode. This is episode number 9 and the start of Season 5. Competitions for us this year will look fairly similar to last season. After another second place finish in the Premier League, we have qualified for Champions League, and we will of course be taking part in any domestic competitions, but the Premier League will have a slightly new look. Watford, Burnley, and Sheffield United have all been promoted to the Premier League for this season, and we'll see if we can finally clinch that league title this year. Recapping some of the top comments from the last episode, my goals for this season are to focus on the competitions that we haven't yet won. We finally won the FA Cup last year, so this season we'll be turning our attention to the Premier League and the Champions League. I'm also going to make a very difficult call for the future of this save, and I am going to say that this is the final season of the Southampton Career Mode. That means we have this episode and the next episode to look forward to. Considering all the amazing feedback on this series, this was a very difficult decision for me to make. However, I do feel like the timing is right, and trust me when I say that I'll be doing everything in my power to close out this Southampton series the right way. As always, the feedback and support on this series has been unparalleled. If you want to show support for the channel and this Southampton Career Mode, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've already adjusted our personal objectives for this season, but as we turn our attention to the board, again, they don't have any youth development objectives that they want from us, but brand exposure, they want us to get 10 wins this season, as well as sign one crucial first team player assigned to the defender position. Financially, we need to finish the season with some unspent funds, as well as make a 7.2 million transfer profit from youth player sales. And it's almost as if the board knows this is our final season of the Career Mode. They want us to win the league, win the FA Cup, and win the Champions League. At full strength, this is the squad that we will have to work with. However, we do have a couple of injuries, particularly at the right back and center mid positions. We'll be without Walker Peters and Ward-Prowse for the first few months of the seasons, so we will have to use this modified squad. Luckily, Zafal and Almada have both proven to be consistent players that can fit into the first team when needed and definitely be squad rotational players. And our transfer budget continues to go up and up as we progress through these seasons. We now have 128 million to work with. I saw a few comments mentioning Brendan Williams as a left back replacement for Ben Sabani, whose overall won't be going much higher in this career mode. However, I'm not too keen on the fact that he is a right-footed player playing at that left back position. So instead, I turned to someone who we considered signing a few seasons ago, Owen Weindahl. He's 85 rated at this point in time, which is a massive improvement for us. And we can also get that connection between the AZ players, between him and Stengs. We completed this transfer on a 75 million fee, and as per the contract details, he signed to an important first team player on a 4-year deal worth 50 grand a week. In order to help meet that financial objective, we will be letting a few youth academy players leave the club. Rodri Payne leaving for Frankfurt for 6 million, and he actually grew a plus 12 in his rating while he was on loan last season. I don't think I've seen a player grow that much in a single season, and we'll be keeping tabs on him to see how he progresses for the rest of his career. We also had Simons and Morris leaving the club on permanent deals, and Valerie leaving to Everton on a loan deal, so we should be set for those financial objectives. A couple of other squad updates now that Dexter Newton has started to make an impact on this save, and he seems to be coming off the bench and contributing goals. We will be giving him the number 7. While I may have had higher hopes for him to reach a higher overall rating, I still feel like with this being the last season of the career mode, we should give this number 7 to someone, and I don't think there's a better player than Newton. I'm always checking to see if there are any better development plans that we can be using, and I feel like this ball-playing defender role will be perfect for McKennie to help improve some of his defending attributes. We're switching Salisu back to a balanced development plan since he has grown so much, and we're just looking to equal out the rest of his statistics. Quaresma will be trying to become a stopper, really honing in on an improvement to his pace as well as a few of the defending stats. But to be honest, I haven't noticed this because it hasn't made an impact on his rating in game, but Gineppo is still technically considered a left mid. We're going to switch him over to right mid because that's what he plays for us. Finally, we'll be setting Almada on the advanced playmaker role because that will help improve his passing and get a boost to his rating. I'm still trying to cover some of the youth academy countries that we haven't yet scouted. If you have any final suggestions, make sure to leave that in the comment section. We'll be picking 3 new countries in the next episode. But anyways, we'll be setting up networks in France for 6 months looking for any type of player, Ghana in 6 months for any type of player, and finally the Republic of Ireland for 6 months looking for any type of player. Although we did lose in the Champions League final last season to Bayern, I still felt like the score lines were a bit unrealistic, so we're up in the difficulty once again to as high as it goes. We're on ultimate difficulty with competitor mode back on. With those transfers and updates complete, we are ready to get into the gameplay for Season 5. We have a new competition that will be involved in the FA Community Shield. Along with that, we do have Premier League footage as well as Champions League action. So let's strap in and see how we do for Season 5. We'll be competing against Chelsea for the FA Community Shield. They won the Premier League last season, and they've already made a significant improvement at the right mid position, adding Soleil. But it will be some of Chelsea's original players who had the greatest impact on this match, as Werner plays this past the Cup Miners, who we almost signed in this career mode. But the German goal scorer will score the first goal of the match 16 minutes in. You've got to believe that the German duo of Havertz and Werner are a big reason why Chelsea have been successful so far in this save. We'll try to respond back as best we can as we get an attack going in the 21st minute. And once again, it's Almada finding himself in the right sort of position, consistently showing that he can spark a few attacks for us, and he will be a high impact player in Season 5. Unfortunately, this Chelsea defense, and maybe it was the ultimate difficulty with competitor mode on, was just too tough to break down as Danny Ings gets a shot off, but it is eventually blocked. Just before the halftime break, it's Soleil, the new signing, playing this pass through to Bakayoko, and unfortunately the pressing play from Chelsea paid off and Werner bags his second goal of the match. It just seemed like our squad was not on the same page throughout this fixture. Maybe we're still thinking about our loss in the Champions League final last year, but hopefully we can turn things around, as our attacking play was not super creative and Kepa made some big stops. Chelsea, on the other hand, were the definition of clinical, as Havertz will once again play this pass in to Werner, who nets his hat-trick in the 62nd minute. I think he got subbed off right after this moment. He did his job, and ultimately that was enough to put Chelsea in a very comfortable position and hold on to this clean sheet. As this is the final season of the Southampton save, we are looking to win as many trophies as possible. It would have been fantastic if we won the FA Community Shield. But just like the Champions League final last season, we'll try to learn as many lessons as possible from this loss and try to set ourselves up in a good position moving forward. After all, the Premier League is a big focus for us this season. What better way to showcase that we are up to the task than to play Liverpool in our first match? This will, of course, be another rematch against one of our former players, Bednarek, but also the introduction of Walker Peters into the squad after he returns from injury. Despite creating chances, we have been unable to find the finishing piece and net some goals early on in the season. Part of that has to do with me not having the confidence I needed to in my strikers. There you can see I optioned to square it across instead of just going through on goal and taking that effort solo with Adams. Luckily, I switched my mindset later on. We went solo with Gineppo, and hopefully that will be the first of many goals that we scored this season. Gineppo continues to shine from this sort of position, and the unselfish play set that up. McKennie finds himself in an attacking position. Clearly, we wanted a second goal as Gineppo gets inside the box, finds Almada, but a good defensive effort there from Marquinhos. As we transition to the second half, it's Stengs who plays this across perfectly to Adams, scoring his brace, and it looks like we will begin our Premier League campaign with all 3 points. However, after we scored that goal, Liverpool seemed to flip a switch and they started pressing like no other. They weren't able to finish the chances though, as Awar once again puts this effort wide, just like he did a couple of times last season. Jota will get a chance out wide here as he tries to play this inside to Mbolo, but a good save from Henderson. That's why we continue to select him as our number 1. There were a few moments last season where we had a little bit more confidence in Gunn because he had more minutes due to the Henderson injury, but we push on and we try to get another goal. This one is going to fall perfectly to Edouard, scoring one of the only header goals we've scored in this career mode. Sure, Ings had a few in the first season, but ever since then we scored so many goals on the counterattack. It's good to see this type of chance every once in a while. Newton had a breakout season last year, and we will be trying to feature him in more matches, coming off of the bench and occasionally getting a start. He will net himself a goal with a nice far post effort, making it 4 for us. I'm not sure exactly what sparked this change in form, but I'm hoping it can continue going for our homegrown talent. As we get another chance with Newton, the finesse shot is saved well by Alisson, and that will be the final highlight of the match. A resounding 4-0 victory for us. And now that we are looking for a Premier League title, we need to keep on stacking up these sort of results. After 6 months without our captain, we finally have Ward-Prowse returning from injury, and I was so happy to have him back in our squad because through 4 Premier League matches, we only accumulated 6 points. Luckily, though, we do have Ward-Prowse back before our first Champions League match, our group consisting of Roma, Valencia, and Henk. Valencia will be the first match that we showcase from the Champions League, and our match at St. Mary's ended in a 1-1 draw. That means it is even more crucial for us to get a win in this away match, so that we can find ourselves near the top of our group. Unlike last season, this will be our only opponent that has a real stadium in FIFA 21, so I'm hoping we can get a good result here in Spain. I highlighted in the last episode that this Southampton squad is not the same without Ward-Prowse, and this bit of play showcases exactly why. 13 minutes after returning from injury, he scores one of the best goals that he has in this entire career mode. He's the difference maker in this starting 11. He's our captain, and it's great to see him back. But as we saw in the simulation against Valencia, we know that they're a good opponent, and we need to make sure we defend strong and make sure we try to score a second goal as we get some good blocks in. Unfortunately, this was only going to end one way. The ball just kept bouncing back to the Valencia players, and they will equalize in the 25th minute. Things like this seem to happen a little bit more often when competitor mode is turned on, but we'll move on from it and just accept the goal. What we can't afford to do, though, is concede a second goal, because as we saw against Chelsea, once the CPU goes up, they tend to run up the scoreline. More and more close chances here, as a corner kick for Valencia nearly resulted in a goal, and a strange one at that, as the ball bounced over the crossbar. This seemed to be a match of momentum, as we'll get into Valencia's final third here. Adams playing the pass to Stengs, who has the vision to spot out Gineppo, only to square the pass across to Ward-Prowse. He'll get his brace before the halftime break, and we're off to a good mark here as we try to carry that momentum to the second half. It's Gineppo to find Edouard. Now Adams gets a bit lucky to hang on to possession. Nandez back to Adams. He'll get the third goal of the match for us, and that gave us a pretty comfortable scoreline. This is the point in the match where things become considerably easier, because once the CPU is down a few goals, their defense tends to push up, and you can go on solo runs just like Stengs does here, doing that one himself and scoring a goal that Gineppo usually does from that right-hand side across effort. But Obafemi is also going to showcase some good passing and vision over to Nandez. It's Ward-Prowse for his hat-trick. Of course, he's going to bury the chance. And what a return for him. Coming back into the Southampton squad, he hasn't missed a beat. And hopefully that will be the first of many more goals he scores in this 5th season. I feel like because we have that pressure on us to win the Premier League title and perform well in the Champions League, we put in good results like this one against Valencia. Hank may be the underdogs of our group, but they're here for a reason, and we can't take them lightly. With that said, we did win the away match 4-1. And judging by this play at the beginning of the match, we may be off to a similar score line as Edouard opens up the scoring 1-0 just 3 minutes into the match. It's good to see him improve in the Southampton squad, and now that Ings is starting to decline, I think he will become our new starter. But this will be the goal of the match as Adams lofts in across the far post. You know it, it's Ward-Prowse who volleys this one so well. Probably the best one that he's scored in this save so far, and he scored a couple of good volleys, to be fair. He just continues to impress and show up in new ways each and every season. To be fair to Hank, they did not give up after conceding those early goals. They'll get into our final third here. Good tackle initially by McKennie, but it's a poor pass by Nelson. We lose hold of possession, and eventually Hank will find the open man, and there's not too much that Henderson could have done about that one, as they cut the deficit in half and made things a little bit more interesting. We're still in the first half here as Nelson tries to make up from his earlier mistake. It's going to be a shot on the far post, but a good save from the goalkeeper, and that was the first of many saves he made throughout this match. Despite conceding a couple of goals, I think he put in a pretty decent individual performance as he denies that Ward-Prowse effort. This time it's going to be Adams completely selling the defender one way. A perfect drag back to create some space, and it's going to be a simple finesse shot effort to the far post. I can't thank you guys enough for recommending that I continue to use Adams early on in this save, because he has become an incredible striker. With this match really only trending one way, we'll try to net a couple of more goals and rack up this score line as Nelson will get on the score sheet. It's always good to see him contributing to the play, whether that be through assists or through goals. He doesn't get quite as many minutes as Gineppo, but still a high impact player in this squad. But this is probably the best piece of individual skill in this match. The rainbow flick from Stengs leading to a volley. One of the better goals we've scored in this career mode, to be fair. I'm telling y'all that this Southampton squad has some flair, and we're going to keep showing it this season. But with this match done and dusted, Nelson will contribute once more, bursting through the Hank defense, and he will net his brace in the 85th minute to make things 6-1. I'm not sure what to say at this point, guys. We're on ultimate difficulty with competitor mode on. The only thing that I could do moving forward is potentially turn on sliders, but I think that's not something we're going to do, at least for this career mode. But with still one Champions League group stage match to play in this episode, we'll turn our attention to the Premier League, which is going to be a very close contest. City currently sit top, but Leicester are in third place, just 1 point behind us, so I thought we would showcase this match as we've had a bit of a rivalry with Leicester throughout this career mode. I think part of it goes back to Leicester being our first opponent in this career mode all the way back in episode 1, if you can recall that about a month ago. But we will open up the scoreline 7 minutes in with Edouard netting another header, and I'm glad this tactic is viable once again after not being so effective the last few FIFAs. It's good to see Ward-Prowse back and dishing out passes to our wingers as Gineppo sends in this low cross, defended well by the Leicester defense, but we'll try again from the opposite side. Stengs now from the left. He spots out Edouard in the middle, and this time we will make things 2 as Edouard nets another brace in the first half. It seems like we've had that so often in this episode already. We're just having a knack for scoring goals as Stengs to Edouard. Unselfish play across to Ward-Prowse. He will get on the score sheet. And even with Leicester being one of the better teams in the Premier League this season, our attack was able to do whatever they wanted, as this time it's going to be Gineppo getting in on the action. He was robbed of a couple of assists earlier on, but now he will get on the score sheet. 62 minutes in, it'll be 4-0. My only hope is that we can continue this form for the remainder of the season, because it seems like something is always stopping us, whether it be injuries or just drops in form. The great thing about having 4 amazing strikers in this Southampton squad is that we can call upon them at any time. Now that we're up a few goals, we'll give some of our other strikers a chance. Obafemi with a great solo run that was set up by Ings. And that's a pretty nice goal to make things 5, but we're going to try to make it 6 now. Obafemi on the near post, unfortunately, will go off of the post as Ings plays another through ball. To be fair, Obafemi could have had a hat trick despite only featuring in about 30 minutes or so, but a couple of good saves off of the line there. We will still walk out with the full 3 points. And now our attention can go back to the Champions League. This final fixture in the group stage will be a big one. Roma, despite not having the licenses in FIFA 21, have a very strong squad. With that said, their starting 11 is a bit unorthodox. Origi starting at right center mid. The previous fixture ended in a 2-1 loss. Out of the 3 group stage matches that we played, I would argue that this fixture against Roma was our toughest one. Luckily, McKennie started us off on the right foot, heading this effort home from the corner kick. We don't score too many goals from set pieces, but because McKennie's jumping is in the 90s, he can definitely jump in and make an impact from time to time. Maybe he'll do that even more in the Champions League. Amado will pick out this pass to Stengs, who is left wide open on the left side, but a good block from the Roma defender. And to be honest, I really enjoyed Almada on this right side, filling in for Gineppo and showing that he can make an impact, not just centrally, but out wide as well. Adams will net us the second goal, which sets us up for success as we try to see out this match. But the Roma attack seemed to spark to life after that, kind of similar to how things went against Liverpool. They just seemed to play with more intensity. Had it not been for a few key moments going our way, I believe this match could have gotten a lot closer, much quicker, as this effort goes just wide of the post. Not sure Henderson would have had it covered. And even as we move toward the second half, we'll try our best to defend as best we can, but we could not stop this Roma attack. They'll eventually get a goal and stop the clean sheet. It was a deserved goal, to be honest, and this is the type of play we need to get used to if we advance to the knockout stage. We've got a lot of space after this throw-in as Edouard plays a pass inside to Ings, showcasing those 5-star skills of his. I still think it's hilarious that he's been able to develop that part of his game through development plans. Definitely was unintentional, but it's part of this Southampton save, as our manager might be making a cameo here in the future. Some of the glitches in career mode lately have been pretty hilarious, but hopefully they get patched here in the new title updates. But even as we get toward the end of this match, it was a very close affair. Clearance off the line from Salisu, a big stop by Henderson, and somehow we will manage to hang on to the full 3 points, and ultimately that was just enough for us to top our Champions League group. It was a solid outing from us in the first half of this 5th season. Kind of a slow start with the injuries that we suffered to Walker Peters and James Ward-Prowse, but we managed to close the gap, and we're just 1 point behind Manchester City for top of the table. As long as the squad can stay healthy, I think the Premier League title is within sight, but looking at the rest of the teams, we've got Leeds, Watford, and Sheffield United in the relegation zone. Che Adams continues to lead the way as far as goals scored are concerned. 19 goals from him from just 24 appearances, an incredible ratio. But for assists, it's Nandez and Stengs who are joint top, 7 assists from them, Adams and Ward-Prowse not too far behind, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ward-Prowse making a big run in the second half of the season, maybe overtaking that first place spot. Obviously, the Southampton squad is incredible, and I think it is fully capable of achieving the objectives that we're looking to do this season. But if there are any areas that you think we should improve via transfers for our final episode, let me know down in the comments. But if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.